Steve, nice to see you. Nice to meet you again. Thank you for coming to ATLANT3D. It's now more than 1.5 years that we know. Oh, not 1.5. It's more than 3 years, I think.
More than 3 years, yeah.
And all of this time, I'm really looking into the past with a smile on my face because I'm very glad that I met you. And I'm very grateful that you decided to invest in ATLANT and now becoming one of the very good friend and advisor to the company, and I really appreciate that. And today, this is our first interview for ATLANT. We want to invite our investors like you and have a discussion with you why you decided to invest in ATLANT, what caused you, opportunities do you see. But I think before we start the discussion, I would like that you can present your background, your experience, what you achieve in your life, and how do you see you can help also ATLANT to grow and become a leader on the market.
Okay. Yeah, very nice to see you again, Maksym. So, my name is Steve Ahn, and I was educated as a semiconductor engineer, and I worked in semiconductor industry for 20 years, usually big companies in Silicon Valley, in Japan, and Korea. In Korea, I worked for Samsung Electronics, and I developed memory devices and also display-related chips, and then I became in charge of a small business unit, and that's what they call display drivers. So these chips are used for mobile phones and TVs, flat panel TVs, and fortunately, I was able to grow this business very big. And then, before that, I thought I was born to be an engineer, but I began to think that maybe I have some hidden DNA in my body for becoming a businessman. And then I became interested in starting my own business. And at that time, these mobile phones had a small black and white display, but I expected that will be changed to color displays. So I decided to focus on this market, and then decided to leave the company and start my own business. So I developed the products and technologies, and as I expected, there was an opportunity. So at that time, the biggest mobile manufacturer was Nokia, and Nokia had a plan to change their very basic phones displays from black and white into color. So as we were already ready for these products, our products were designed in Nokia. So our business grew very rapidly. So and then we had other customers like Samsung's mobile phone division. So within 4 years of after we started, we were able to go public at Nasdaq.
Wow, that's a very fast development.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've been working in Samsung at the moment when you started the company, right?
Yeah. So after I left Samsung, I started.
Okay. And being in corporate environment and moving into startup with actually very fast growing speed, how did you feel? How was your kind of approach? How did you tackle so many challenges at that moment?
So, before I left Samsung, frankly, I thought, I did so many good things to grow this business, but, what I did not consider was this infrastructure that this big company has, and also this, brand value, brand power. So after I left Samsung, I felt that I was left alone on the wild field in heavy rain, in the tempest. So it took a while before I realized this.
Okay.
So I had to work even harder. And one example is that I got a very large order from my customer, but I had to rely on fast factories which manufacture semiconductors, and then but they don't have enough capacity for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to beg and beg,
Yourself.
Yeah, and then eventually my customer, which is much more influential, they help me to secure capacity.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so it is an entirely different experience compared to big companies.
And how you started probably yourself, two more people, two, three, and you grew the company to what size?
So actually, I was the sole founder, but I recruited 4 engineers. So it's a small team initially, only 5-member team, and in 4 years, our revenue grew to $150 million.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's fast.
We are lucky.
Congratulations, that's a
Thank
big
you.
success. So, having this background, I know you have also Ph.D. and MBA, right? And your
Yes.
Ph.D. in semiconductor. So, can you tell about your educational background? Because why I'm asking, what attracted me to you is that you are one of the investors that really well understood what we want to do because of your engineering background, specifically in semiconductors. If you could mention a little bit more details about this, and how do you see, based on your background, the opportunities in semiconductor industry in these actually challenging times?
Okay, so I was born and raised in South Korea, and I majored in metallurgical engineering and materials, and so I got my first master's degree in South Korea.
Okay.
And then I thought about my future. So what should I do? And then I wanted to study semiconductor technologies. But at that time, in Korea, there was no such industry. That was a long time ago. And no school to teach about this technology. So I decided to go to the United States. And so I went to school close to Silicon Valley. And I got my PhDs in material science and also a master's degree in electrical engineering. So that's why I became a semiconductor engineer. And then when I started my own startup, my educational background was only engineering and science. So I didn't know anything about how to run a company, and even simple, I could not even read a simple financial statements.
Okay.
So I learn the hard way, by making mistakes, every day. So maybe that's why I decided to, take this MBA program. By the way, I took my first retirement 2 years after IPO.
Okay.
Because I found that the life of a CEO of a startup, CEO of a public company is entirely different from that of a startup. So, I studied MBA during my first retirement, and because had I known this knowledge before, then could my decisions during my startup days have been different. So, but I found that most of the decisions could have been the same. Because I had this kind of three kind of principles of decision making. For me, it's the first is don't delay your decisions.
Okay.
And second thing, the most difficult thing is that you don't know everything, but you have to make decisions. So that made me very lonely, and there was no one to really to talk to consult regarding these issues. So my second principle was if you don't know much about this decision, and then let's base on common sense. Okay, and the third one is you have to be honest to yourself. So of course I could make wrong decisions, and then admit it as soon as possible and reverse the decision. Okay, so I think these 3 things work quite well for me.
Yeah, I really understand you. So I don't have any business background, and coming almost in the same way.
Yeah.
So I actually really following your type of principles. Really admire that. Right.
Mhm.
So, what do you see as opportunity and the challenges in the current semiconductor industry and electronics in related industries, and where do you see opportunities here?
So I feel that technologies in semiconductor field is kind of saturated.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need some new innovations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so one thing I felt very attractive in this company is that you have this very innovative new technologies, so which could kind of spearhead the next challenges in semiconductor field.
Do you see that nevertheless, or depending on the conditions, we can succeed with this technology, or do you see some obstacles that can appear in front of us? I mean, obstacles not in the company but from the market. Would you consider that the market can accept this type of innovation?
Well, there are always obstacles.
Okay.
So there is no wide open nice road in front of a startup. So of course, I think there will be many obstacles. So that's why the leadership of a startup is very important.
Okay.
And I was really impressed when I saw you maybe the second time, 1.5 years ago, because the first time was like 3 or 4 years ago, and during this time, I felt that you progressed a lot. So
thank you.
You became from a Ph.D. student to a real leader of a company. So I think that was the first reason why I made a decision to invest in you. And the second thing is your technology.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Talking about, appreciate that you acknowledge me. Talking about again the technology. How would you approach delivering this technology to the market that we get the best, response? And what would be your strategy to that?
So I think there are wide opportunities, but as a startup, you should focus on only one thing. So this is not easy, but that's what a CEO or leader of this company should do. So you read all the possibilities and then just choose one and focus on this direction.
Okay. Well, that's very strong, and I think we have this focus. We focus on few. Or we actually scouted few industries, and then based on the response from the market, we got the highest response from optics, photonics, and novel type of displays. And these are kind of, I consider this as a one segment. And we've now developed in the nanofabricator industrial machine that can serve this specific market. And probably, and I believe you know also and see what's happening on the market. So there are a lot of requests, a lot of demand. From smart glasses, from autonomous cars, and also from photonics, where the optical waveguides are critical elements. So my feeling as a leader of the company that this is the one of the industries where we can bring and get some success. So bring in the hardware product, developing applications relevant for the industry needs, and then not only bringing hardware but also the application products, and then creating opportunities beyond that. What do you think about this strategy? Do you see any challenges, or do you feel that would be a good one?
Yeah, I think it's a good one, and I'm sure that you know much better than I do. But I felt kind of fortunate that I had an opportunity to work at the boundaries between the semiconductor and display. Okay, so I'm relatively familiar with this field, and I think your company has a very good opportunity in optics and photonics. So because this area also needs innovations a lot.
Okay. I just want to talk to you as to investor.
No,
So coming back to
Yeah,
the topic. So looking on the company as investor, I mean backwards when you invested 1.5 years ago and over now, how would you evaluate the company and overall performance? And what would be your prediction for the next 1 or 2 years for the company potential?
So I'm not here every day since I live in Asia and I come here occasionally. So I guess I don't know very details about your progress, but my feeling is that now you have a very nice office and you seem to have I met many of your team members and you seem to have built a very strong team and now you are well funded. So I think we are ready for the next jump.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess your next target or goal could be the finding a good paying customer and serving them well.
Okay, that's what we do.
Yeah. And maybe if I may continue about my personal history.
Absolutely.
2 years after I went public, I went into my first retirement, as I told you before. And at that time, one of my investors in VC in Silicon Valley offered me this title as a venture partner. So I was helping them when they made investment decisions, especially high tech companies, startups in China and Korea. So I was able to sit in the opposite side of the table, from a founder to investor. So I did some due diligences in China and Korea. So I was able to understand how these VCs work, investors work, and what they think about when they made decisions.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay. I think it's a very strong endorsement of what we do, what we did so far. I appreciate it a lot. Looking on ATLANT vision and ATLANT, future, do you see it as strong enough to actually become a leader on the market for the company? And if so, and do you see that we're still lacking something? What can we add to the company to make it even more stronger? What would be your opinion on this?
Well, since I saw a great potential, and that's why I, decided to invest on you guys, right? And now, what's really needed is, strong, customers and strong products that really generate, revenues. So I think you are in that direction, but I would say you can be patient and you just keep on working, developing your business.
Okay, I know that I just want to come back to your personal project. I know that you're developing something great for entrepreneurs. It's actually a little bit out of the topic. I just want to emphasize this.
Okay.
So I know that you developed a software program for entrepreneurs to train them how they can play online entrepreneurship startup game. Can you just mention about this? I think it's very interesting.
This could be an issue today, but after this venture partner period, one of my alma maters in Korea is called university called KAIST, and they invited me as a professor when they started this entrepreneurship program. So suddenly I became a professor, and then I was asked to teach, develop courses, and teach entrepreneurship. And at that time, I had one question to myself: can I really teach entrepreneurship to students, and can I make them entrepreneurs? So I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Because entrepreneurship is a subject slightly different from mathematics or physics. So how can I teach and students and make them interested in this issue. So that's when I thought about these games, because perhaps I could, help them experience situations similar to real situation, like starting your business and then developing products and selling them and compete against other competitors. So games could be a solution. So that's why I began to develop these games.
Mm-hmm.
So so I developed one game based on my experience as an entrepreneur. So I kind of gamified my experience into this game. And then, to my surprise, students enjoy playing this game a lot. And then also, they seem to learn, and not just, so what they learned was different from what, they normally learn in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was very encouraged by this observation. So I decided to continue to develop other games, because there are so many different aspects in entrepreneurial world. So rather than integrating everything into one game, I kind of divide them into several different games. So so far I developed 5 games. So in fact, in DTU, where I'm a visiting professor, we developed a new course for 1 semester. And in this course, students play all these 5 games. And then in between, we teach lectures related to these games, the themes of these games. And then throughout this semester, students will learn about the entrepreneurial mindset, what it is. So we ran this course as kind of a test base last year. And then it went extremely well. And the students really love this course. So we decided to continue to do this course. So this year, we have 200 students.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's a lot.
It's very well received, and looks like the words are spread out. And here is a very interesting new course on entrepreneurship.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, looking on, you mentioned about entrepreneurial mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between entrepreneurial mindset and engineer or anyone else? What should be there to make a startup? That's probably the last question for today.
Yeah.
But probably a lot of people will be asking, like, how do you define it? That,
well, it's a very good question, and I'm not sure that I have a very good answer to that. But I would say, maybe you have a challenging spirit, and you have to be tenacious, and you have to be always optimistic that I can change the world with my ideas and my passion.
wow, that's strong. On this second minute, I would like to appreciate and thank you for this amazing talk and discussion. And do you have probably questions to me that you want to ask me something?
Oh, yeah. So you have been with this company for how many years?
Now it's 4 years.
4 years. How do you feel compared to when you just started?
Yeah, I would say I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that this is my way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for companies. I was in academia, and I never felt as like I'm on my place.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I really feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's my style. It's my place of show up. I would say like that. Probably show up is not the best word. Probably to explore the world and give the value. I would say that.
Yes. And do you have any concerns that keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, that I didn't finish some things during the day.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to make the team to work the best way if possible, and if some things are not clear, there are some, sometimes people misunderstand, and this is disturbing me. So I try that people and the team works as smooth as possible. It's it's not always possible. then, as you also highlighted, when you became a CEO, you start feeling more lonely. And I need to confess, I also feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because very often to make decisions, I need to make on my own, and how to do decision making with a lack of information or lack of understanding. So I feel that I make decisions, and these decisions, I hesitate if they are the right one. But at the same time, that's the risk I take in order to make the decision to start moving on. Because at this particular time, that was the best option to consider that this is the best decision. Later on, I not very often, but sometimes figure out that this was not the best decision, that was the wrong decision. There were other options. What I think what is critical for startup for me is to not looking what I could do better or wrong in the past, but kind of iterate and learn from the mistakes. So I think one of the definitions that I found for the startup entrepreneur is like, you are entrepreneur not as fast that you are not making mistakes, but you're making mistakes fast. You fall on your knees and then you stand up again fast. So your learning cycle becomes much faster than anyone else. Then you become a true entrepreneur. So I try to implement this mindset for myself. Sometimes even making mistakes intentionally, especially if they don't cost much. Because of that way, I can learn much faster and understand why I should not do that thing instead of doing another one. So it kind of, that's mindset I'm trying to develop. I don't know if this is right or wrong. This is just the way I do.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, in my teaching, I often tell students that the best school for you to learn entrepreneurship is not here, but your own company.
Yes.
Because and then you will naturally be very quick learner, because you need this knowledge to run your company.
And another quote I just want to add to what I also found out, that Ph.D. mindset, if you modify it slightly, this experimentation, trying and failing is really well applicable to the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think people with PhD, if they are in the right mindset, they can be the best, or they very often become the best entrepreneurs. And this proved by the most successful companies like in US and around the world. Because, and you're one of the examples of that. Engineering is experimentation, also this exploration mindset that comes from science in the right way, in extreme conditions, can be the one creating the very good entrepreneurship base. Because you know how to evaluate your decisions and actually learn from your mistakes. That's what I do. I don't know if you can share this with me.
Yeah, perfectly understand it. I agree with you.